Damn, I cannot believe he's...
You all bought it! You all bought it! Hook, line, and sinker! You all bought it!
They did!
Even my family! Even my immediate family bought it!
Look at Shane!
Every damn one
Shane
of
is
you
out here,
were made fools of!
You know something? I was one of those fools. You heard me here for weeks talking about how Jermell Charlo had a chance and that Canelo was getting older. But man, for him to put on the bullshit performance or not put on the performance is just I'm at a loss for words. And 33-year-old former undisputed champion, he got the payday, but was it really, really worth it in the end? Big J, I'm gonna bring you right on in. Canelo Alvarez defeated Jermell Charlo at 168 pounds via unanimous decision. Straight domination. He was even dropped in round number 7. And I don't know how his reputation can really recover from this. Because he didn't just get dominated. He didn't put up a fight at all. Let's bring you right in, Big J. What did you think about the fight?
Well, what did I say about this fight? What did I say? I knew what I said because I was standing there when I said it. It was a bullshit fight with two blokes stuck in their mandatories to have a pissing contest for a cash grab to line Al Heyman's pockets. And was I not proven right yet again?
Yeah.
You got that clip? Let Vince take it away.
Yeah. No, we already listened to Vince. I played at the beginning. That's how it opened up.
Oh, sweet. Well, Vince said it friggin' perfectly. You all bought it, hook, line, and sinker. You've all been made look like fucking idiots. Because as I said, anyone who thought that Charlo had a chance against Canelo in the first place, you're a fucking idiot. So you all bought it, and Canelo, Charlo, and Al Heyman are just laughing their asses off going to the bank. They've taken your money. Anyone who paid for that, they've taken your hard-earned dollar, over-promised and under-delivered. So it's all on you. So anyone who bought that, that's your fault.
That's
You're
a massive.
The dumb bastard who thought it was a good idea to waste. How much was it on pay-per-view in the States?
84.
30, 40.
$84.99 here. It was $39.95 for you guys over there. I remember we pulled it up.
Yeah, so anyone who wasted their money on watching that, that's on you. Because if you thought for a second that was going to be a good fight, no. And as Charlo's shown his true colors, that he's just a pansy. I mean, okay, he got a cash grab fight, but at least you got to have a crack. I mean, he didn't even try. He was just, that was like Jose, was it Jose Ramirez? No, who was the bloke that was the WBO champ that did nothing? The bantamweight champ. What's his name? That ran around the ring for like 12 rounds.
Stephen Fulton?
No, not Stephen Fulton.
No, Stephen Fulton tried. I can't remember off the top of my head right now.
I think it was Casemiro. I think that was the guy, Casemiro.
Oh, got you. Against he did run around. Yep, I remember. He fought him and Rigondeaux. They had that running match. Didn't fight. Horrible fight, nasty fight. I expected for him to at least try. Now, honestly, I thought that he had a chance mostly because of Canelo. Now I'm going to go ahead and say, I was a fucking idiot. That was me. I wasn't. I'm going to take the easy way out. I'm going to be a scumbag and say, you know what? I wasn't well at the time. How about that? But no, all jokes aside, though, he didn't even try. And it's like, you're on this big platform and you're just running around. And what I'm noticing is the fight is trending after the fact for how shitty of a performance that he put on. Meaning Jermell Charlo, and it was they're calling it a stain on boxing. That's how bad it is over here in the States for him to put on that type of shitty performance. And then we're not even going to talk about the undercard just yet. What happened with the Lubin fight? But now you got guys like Tszyu here. Before we go on, let me play this small little clip real quick, so you can hear what Tszyu never. What's this guy's name? I don't know how to pronounce it. Jai McAllister. He works the events over there.
Yeah.
All right,
well, John McAllister. He's one of my mates.
Got you. Let's play. Yeah, let's play this.
It's just him.
25-second clip right here. Audio is just a little brief. No copyright infringement. Jai, we cool, mate. Here we go.
It's just him.
How do you respond to him intentionally saying your name wrong? Because he said Tszyu and then he changed it to
I
Tszyu.
think he's that illiterate that he can't speak properly. You know, like I don't think he can. Yeah, he's just. I don't know. Like you can make him try say that word and Tszyu, but he can't say it. Poor bloke.
And you know, I've noticed something about Tszyu lately over the last year. He's got more bravado. You know, he's much more open and more charismatic than he used to be. And just looking at his demeanor or watching his demeanor over the last several interviews I've watched, you can tell like he's really confident he can beat Charlo. And I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. If you would have asked me last week, I would have been like, you know, Tszyu's getting closer. If you would have asked me a month ago, you know, Tszyu's getting closer. You know, we talked about how he's cut the gap. Mostly because of being active and stepping up in competition. But I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm going to pick Tszyu to beat Jermell Charlo at 154 pounds. Has your thoughts changed on that?
No. As I said, I mean, when the Harrison fight happened, we're like, okay, he's in trouble. But when he knocked out Ocampo, I'm like, yeah. It's because, as I said, Charlo's on the decline and Tszyu just continues to keep on going up the escalator, and Charlo's going the other way. So Charlo's completely on the decline, and Tszyu just continues to climb that mountain. So yeah, I have no doubt in my mind that Tszyu would kick the living shit out of Charlo, and that's exactly what he deserves. So,
And that Brian Mendoza fight is now a bigger fight taking place. What's that? October the 15th.
October the 15th. Yeah,
it's a much bigger fight now. That's going to be on Showtime here in the States, by the way. Because the 154-pound division now looks like it belongs to Tszyu.
Well, eventually, I mean, I've said this before. I said we have 3 fighters at the moment that could potentially become undisputed in their respective divisions. Jai Opetaia at Cruiserweight, Tszyu at 154, and Jason Maloney at Bantamweight. So, so Australian boxing is looking good. Is looking good again.
So here's an interesting scenario. I now strongly believe that Jermell Charlo's next fight, if he doesn't take a year off like PBC fighters are normally known to do after a loss, I have a prediction his next fight is going to be Bakhram Murtazaliev to hold on to his IBF belt because he's still got the WBC because now Brian Mendoza, he's going to be fighting Tszyu for the WBO. So we haven't really found out if he can keep that interim title or not. I'm going to be looking into that, and the WBA is not going to strip him. So if he fights Bakhram Murtazaliev, he'll be able to hold on to all 3 of his titles and then fight Tszyu for undisputed again.
Yeah, that sounds like the way it was supposed to go because Bakhram Murtazaliev has been the #1 contender since November of 2019.
Yeah.
So, and according to what's been said, the IBF was going to strip Charlo and Murtazaliev was going to fight Jack Colkay for the vacant belt, but that hasn't happened yet. But now that he has lost convincingly, yeah, that might change. But I just hope all the sanctioning bodies just go, you know what, bugger you, Charlo. We're going to take all the belts off you, and yeah, just leave the vacant belts.
They're not going to do that. It's too much money involved. Like Charlo still is a big money bringer for the division. You know, unless they're stripping him for a Crawford fight or maybe a Spence fight and they're both in the same camp, I don't see that happening. But to move on a little bit to the next subject, let's talk about Derrick James, the former trainer of the year who has trained, currently has Errol Spence in his stable. There's some rumors going around that he may not be training Errol Spence anymore. But as it stands today, until we hear something, there's Errol Spence, former IBF champion, former unified 2-time champion Anthony Joshua. He's got fringe contender Frank Martin, who was supposed to be fighting Shakur Stevenson. He's got former champion Ryan Garcia, whose fight against Oscar Durate is coming up. I forgot exact date that's going to be happen. I think it's in December. You know, and then he's got Jermell Charlo. Me personally, and all of those guys have been in big fights back to back. I think that he's spread too thin. And I've said it before, and it's starting to really show with his fighters not having any sort of game plan. And then they're fighting literally up like sometimes 6 weeks apart. You know, and there's no way he could be really studying and giving all of these fighters this time. It's not like the guy's been doing it for 30, 40 years, you know. I mean, he's relatively young compared to a lot of trainers. But what are your thoughts about Derrick James?
Well, as you said, he's spread far too thin. He's he'd be better off having 3 or 4 solid trainers, solid fighters in his camp than having, 15 or 16. So he's spread far too thin. Because where does he base himself? Texas,
Dallas.
well, Texas. Yeah. So he's got to travel to the UK for Joshua to fight, then come back to the States, travel all over the States. Yeah. I mean, you brought this up about 12 months ago that he was going to spread himself just too thin this year, and you were proven right.
And look, all of his fighters, Errol Spence got dominated. Frank Martin in his last fight didn't look good. Anthony Joshua, even though he stopped Robert Helenius, who was on the juice, by the way, he didn't look good against Robert Helenius. And then you got Jermell Charlo putting on his performance. And now the next fight he's got coming back is Anthony Joshua in December and Ryan Garcia both in December. And then you got Errol Spence probably in January you got to prepare. So...
Yeah, well... I mean, the one thing that I don't like about sports, and particularly team sports like rugby league, is that when the team's playing bad, they blame the coach.
Yeah.
The coach isn't the one on the fucking field. The trainer's not the one in the fight. Blame the bloody boxers. The boxers are putting on the shit performance, not the frigging trainer.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get poor advice, but, at the end of the day, it's up to the boxer to pull his finger out of his ass. I mean, these are the highest level professionals you can get. I mean, it should come to a part where it doesn't
the highest paid too. Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
In one night.
It doesn't matter. I mean, $10 million. I heard that Charlo got paid $10 million for that. It's like only in boxing, because MMA, Dana White wouldn't pay that shit for a starters. And if he put on a performance like that, I dare say White wouldn't pay him. So, but boxing's the only sport in the world where you can put on a bullshit performance like that and walk away a multi-millionaire and laugh all the way to the bank.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an absolute friggin' disgrace, and people wonder why people are turning their backs on boxing.
Yeah.
This is why. As I said, it was supposed to be billed as the number one and most anticipated fight, like undisputed, which had never happened. Did that ever happen before in the 3-belt era?
No, not for no.
No. So this is an unheard of fight, right? Between arguably the two guys in the pound-for-pound top 5. You have to put Charlo in.
I have to, yeah. And you got to put Charlo top 5. You have to.
Well, and as I said, it just
top
turned
6.
out to be a pissing contest. It just turned out. Well, it was a fucking joke. I mean, I had to pick the second they announced it. I knew it was going to be bullshit, but.
Yeah, but did you know it was going to be this bad though? I mean, in my opinion, it would have been better for Charlo if he went out on the Shield and got knocked the fuck out. I think he would have been better off going out just say fuck it, I'm fighting Canelo. Let me go out here and give him all I got and then get beat up. Instead of like Errol Spence, because at least Errol Spence, he was trying. He just was Crawford was on just another level. Like Spence was trying. Jermell did not try.
I really don't think it's Derrick James' fault, because Charlo's been out for so long and he just seems disinterested. AJ's past his best. At least Errol Spence tried. So, I mean, you can't really blame Derrick James for all this.
But which is why maybe you need them more time with your fighters.
Oh, absolutely.
But then again, it's up to the fighters. Yeah, the fighters hire these trainers though. So, at the end of the day, it is up to them. I wonder sometime if the trainer goes to the fighters and say, hey, how do you feel about me bringing such and such on? I wonder if they have that type of bond or, camaraderie in their camps to be like, all right, this is going to be all us. How do you feel about me guys bringing on Anthony Joshua? How do you feel about me bringing on Ryan Garcia? And do the fighters have, or does the coach have the support of the fighters when he's bringing all these people on? Because that's a lot of work for one man.
It is. I mean, I don't know how things work in the States, but in Australia, the coach runs the show.
Yeah.
So the coach runs the show. He makes all the decisions. He says what goes on. He just runs the show. The boxer gets told what to do. So that's how things run in Australia. But, yeah, obviously things are different in the States.
Well, take your time out. Like the video, subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at TstreeT Controversy. And as you can see here, Big J is on the screen here. With this video he sent me of the lion that showed up to the Charlo fight. To the Canelo fight.
Ooh. Oh. Oh.
Take your time out. Like the video, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at TstreeT Controversy and Big Mate at Old Mate Big J. All right, we are back. 23-0 and 18 with 18 KOs. Opetaia, Cruiserweight, IBF, and Ring Magazine champion, defeated Jordan Thompson, 4th round stoppage. And even though I didn't really enjoy the fight, build up or the fight on paper, he put on a good performance. I did notice and have some concerns when I heard him at the final press conference during fight week and the post weigh-in. You can tell something's happened to his jaw. And I just don't feel that Jordan Thompson was really the fighter to really test that. And maybe Opetaia knew, like, all right, I can't play with this guy because I don't want to get cracked by him at all. But overall, what did you think about the fight?
No, absolutely dominant performance. I thought he did play off his food a little bit because I thought that he was saved by the bell all 3 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
So he was saved by the bell. And I felt that he got him in trouble in the first and then the 3rd round, and then he backed off a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I really thought that he should have,
got him out of there early, a bit more aggressive.
like finished it off. Yeah, but well, not more. Yeah, but yeah, get in there and get it finished off earlier.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it doesn't matter. I mean, 4th round knockout. I mean, absolute dominant performance. What more could you want than that? So,
yeah. Yeah, but now the question is what's going to be next, because it's a tough division to really get fights done, mostly because of the political bullshit that's going on between the division, where you have Lawrence O'Colly, who left Matchroom Boxing, where Opetaia is now signed to, on very bad terms. And you have Chris Billum-Smith, who's also over there on Sky Sports in The Boxer. And we saw fights fall apart with a boxer fighter, Richard Riakporhe, and an Opetaia. So now what you have to do is you have to go for a unification, I think, is the way to go. Now that WBC title is vacant right now. Badu Jack has vacated. You can expect for that to be settled soon, where who's going to be actually ordered to fight for that belt. Ursulan Gulamarian, I think that somebody needs to find this guy and get that belt off of him. Like, just period, because he's been holding up the division for quite some time now, politically or not. So, and then you have that possibility of the Breedis rematch, which I think is the biggest fight he can possibly take right now that will be available for him outside of a unification. But what do you think he goes from here? I'm going to tell you right now, I don't see him fighting Richard Riakporhe, Chris Billum-Smith, or Lawrence O'Colly. I don't see it. It's that political divide.
Well, he's announced on social media that he wants to go after Chris Billum-Smith for that unification fight.
Yeah, but how?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. But I think he's probably his best chances go after the WBC after it's because I read that the former champion is going to fight for the vacant title, so that might be the way to go. Or he could fight Opetaia in a unification bout. That would be the way to go. I'd go after the WBC title first.
Yeah, but who does he fight next? Because right now they don't even have a fight scheduled for that vacant WBC title. So he's gotta stay busy. I'm guessing maybe they can try to pull in, Masternak, because the IBF rankings right now are just shit, in his division. Now you do have Junior Dorticos, but I do not think or believe that his team would put him in with the most devastating, arguably the most devastating puncher in the division right now. That is Junior Dorticos. That's a huge fight. He's ranked number 13 by the IBF, but I'm not confident that they'll put him in there. But all the other names, even with the guy ranked number 6, Floyd, what's his name, Floyd Massoon?
No, he recently lost his IBO title, so that won't happen.
But that shows you how weak the division is.
Yeah, I mean, he could possibly fight the guy that beat Floyd Masson. What's his name? Yes, I can't remember his name.
He's not even. I'm not.
Fella.
I don't see his. He's not even ranked.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't be. But yeah, I think it could possibly be Floyd Massoon because he's a New Zealander that lives in Australia.
But why would they do that? It makes no sense for a champion.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But Breedis is probably the way to go.
Yeah.
Honestly, Breedis is probably the way to go. But the problem with the cruiserweight division, it's always been a pretty weak division.
Yeah.
So I mean, besides Usyk and Holyfield, name your cruiserweight champ.
Yeah, you're too big to be at light heavyweight, and you're too small to really
be a heavyweight.
Especially in this division of heavyweights where they're 6'4" and 6'5", 6'6", and up.
And they say that Jai should have a few fights and move up. The last thing he wants to do is go to heavyweight because that jaw he'll get cracked.
Not right now.
He doesn't have the frame to become a heavyweight. He's a cruiserweight.
But if you look at it, the next crops of heavyweights that are coming up are on the smaller end. So he may have a chance there. Guys like Frank Martin, even though he's older, Jared Anderson. They're not really big guys. You even got Justice Hooney in the next crop. Like the next crop of heavyweights is looking real weak right now, if I'm being honest. Yeah, the next generation, of heavyweights is looking real, bleak right now after Anthony Joshua, Usyk, and the Furies retire, and they're about 2 years away from that. So we don't have somebody. It's a real weak division coming up. But we're going to be following what's going to be going on with Jai Opetaia. Now we're going to wrap up with actually, before we talk about Tszyu Mendoza's card, let's talk about George Kambosos. Who do you think he's going to be fighting?
Well, the rumors are he's going to be fighting Loma for the IBF belt. He has put out on social media that they're going to announce his next fight shortly because he's putting up. He's got the 6th belt now. He says he's going after the 7th belt. So he put that up on Facebook a couple of days ago. So I'm anticipating to see what happens. I mean, obviously, I want him to fight Loma for the IBF title. Yeah, I mean, there's also been. I think you told me the other day that Tank and Loma's a possibility.
That's I've heard a rumor. I didn't really want to put it out there, but I heard a rumor something's going on there. But Loma's manager, Igis Klimas, who also manages Alexander Usyk, we haven't seen them really be able to put a fight together since he had his fighter Zara Glaskov fight Prince Charles Martin years back for the IBF title. But with the way Showtime and the way these promoters have been moving lately in making the big fights, I would not be surprised if that happens on pay-per-view. I would not be surprised, but we'll see. But George Kambosos' other options, he could be just fighting for a vacant title. He could be just fighting for a vacant title.
What's the status with the other belts? WBO, WBA.
Well, the WBC, it's the he's in champion in recess. The WBA, they ain't doing shit. They were supposed to order him to fight Tank Davis, but they ain't do that yet. And the WBO, he hasn't been fully stripped yet. From my understanding, he hasn't been fully stripped yet.
Who's the number one contender at WBO?
WBO. Let's see. It's Shakur Stevenson.
Right, yeah, right. Well, that ain't gonna happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
So
that WBO may be vacant soon, and the IBF, they're not vacant yet. I don't know what they're waiting for. And Haney's already fighting for a championship next month, the end of this month on pay-per-view. Excuse me. No, I'm sorry, December 9th on pay-per-view.
Yeah, well, they can't do anything until they strip Haney anyway. So
yeah.
That's the problem. They can't announce any fights until they strip Haney.
Yeah. Because that Gustavo Lemos guy, he didn't make weight, and he pretty much got pushed out of the rankings.
That's right.
But he definitely won't be seeing Maxie Hughes again because that's a possibility for a vacant title. But, because I'm looking at the rankings now, George by the IBF is ranked number 2, Lomachenko's number 3, Isaac Cruz number 4, Maxie Hughes number 5. Kambosos Isaac Cruz is not going to happen unless it's over on PBC, and Kambosos is a DeBella and a top ring fighter, and there's just bad blood with both of those promoters and PBC. The Lomachenko fight, if he was to pass up on it, then that would leave it to Maxie Hughes.
Yeah, he ain't gonna fight Maxie Hughes.
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen again.
I don't think so.
And then with the WBO, he's nowhere near the top to get another shot at the WBO. So it has to be the next title shot would have to be the IBF route.
That's right.
But I'm interested to see who is going to fight, and especially if it's going to be for a championship. But since we're running low on time, and we already did a video that I'm going to be releasing soon, and the fight's coming up in less than 2 weeks, you have Tszyu taking on Brian Mendoza, which is now a much bigger fight than it was a couple of weeks ago. And maybe Brian Mendoza can pull up an upset. I don't believe he will. But PBC sure needs a win right now between the 147 and 154 pounders. You may remember Brian Mendoza got that big, well, I can't say big, but an upset victory over Sebastian Fundora earlier this year in April, knocked him out in the fight where Sebastian Fundora was winning on the cards. You know, he lost to Jesus Ramos, who just so happened recently on this Canelo Charlo undercard, got a bad decision, lost to Eric Salubin. I guess what I'm trying to say is he's fought credible competition, 22-2 with 16 KOs, 29 years old, 5'10". He could be argued to be, I don't know, a tough challenge for Tim Tszyu. But what Tim Tszyu did to Tony Harrison and Carlos Ocampo, you know, I don't know. I can't really gauge Brian Mendoza right now. What do you think about the fight?
Yeah, well, as I said, I think that Tim will break him down and probably take care of him within 8-9 rounds. So I don't see it going past that. I see that, he'll do what he normally does, go out, feel him out the first couple of rounds, break him down, use his body shots, and finish him off, 8-9 rounds.
Yeah.
So
also, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Tszyu may be due one of those bad nights. You know, what if Mendoza's that bad night? Every great fighter at some point in time have one of those really bad nights. You know, like Floyd Mayweather versus Castillo, Floyd Mayweather versus Maidana. You know, I'm wondering if Mendoza's going to be that guy.
Yeah, well, I was talking to John McAllister the other day, and he said Tim's never looked better. So I spoke to him yesterday. He goes, Tim looks ridiculous. So, okay. And he spends a fair bit of time around him, so he would know. But, it's I think Tim's just going to get more and more primed. And I don't see the Charlo fight ever going to happen. I think he's just going to run away from that. And now that he's got his money, why would he bother? So Crawford's not going to fight him, thank God.
Yeah.
So, and Crawford needs to stay as far away from Canelo as possible. I've already said that before in the past. But hopefully Tim Tszyu can pick up all the belts and we'll get Crawford, Tszyu undisputed versus undisputed. That'd be a much better fight now.
Okay.
So, bugger Charlo.
All right. So we're going to be definitely doing full coverage on this. Brian Mendoza, is it official? He's there now?
Yeah, he got here yesterday.
All right, cool. So let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
About 24 hours ago.
All right, so on this undercard, you have Sam Goodman, who's really making some waves after that upset. It was an upset here for a lot of fighters. I mean, a lot of fans here in the States when he got that win over Raif Salim. But now he's fighting veteran fighter. Not really a veteran. He's still young. Forgot how young he is, but I've covered him several times. Miguel Flores, 25-4-1, 12 KOs. Most recent notable fight was against Leo Santa Cruz, where I remember shitting on that fight big time because he was a sparring partner. I can't stand when fighters fight their sparring partners. Also, in Abner Maris's last fight, which I forgot about and covered on that channel back in September of last year, he got a majority draw. And a lot of people felt that he should have got a decision. You know, it was one of those close decisions, but a lot of people felt that he edged it. So this is a good fight for Sam Goodman, but it's going from Raif Salim to Miguel Flores is a step down.
Yeah, but he's got to keep himself busy until he gets his title shot. So because it's all hinging on what happens with Inoue versus what's old mate's name?
Marlon Tapalas. That's going to be taking place at the end of this year. It hasn't been fully announced yet. You know, so Sam Goodman has positioned himself to fight for a vacant title. I can see Sam Goodman versus Casemiro next for a vacant title.
Yeah, so after Inoue beats old mate and then moves up to featherweight.
Yeah. So, but looking at
that's pretty much exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, because looking at the competition, it's still going to be some tough fights in the division for Sam Goodman, you know, to try to be undisputed. But I'm looking, and they're not fights from what I've seen that I can't say he wouldn't necessarily win. So he has a chance to collect some belts, you know, like maybe 2. He can probably be a unified champion in the division as it stands right now. What other cards are interesting or gaining your interest on the undercard?
Nathaniel May versus Jackson England. John England should be a good fight because last year England was in the fight of the year against Paul Fleming. And believe it or not, Julius Lloyd is fighting again. Some young fella. I think he's a Samoan or a Kiwi.
Yeah,
I
do
can't
not know how to
believe
pronounce
Julius
his name.
Lloyd at 46 years old is still fighting. So he's been active. He's actually been winning a couple. So
Yeah, 18, 26, and 1. 46 years old.
the American bloke that lives in New Zealand. So yeah, that'll be interesting. But I think he'll just be there for the young fella to just make easy work of him. But we'll see what happens.
And what's the buzz for the card like?
Oh, yeah, it's building up now. It's
Okay.
building up.
You think it's going to sell
as
out?
I've said before. Oh, I think it already has.
Okay.
Because it's only a 6,500 seat venue, because they're using the same venue for their compo fight.
Gotcha.
But No Limits business model is smaller venues, more pay-per-view buys.
Gotcha.
That's what they wanted to get the revenue from that.
Gotcha. All right. Closing thoughts?
Looking forward to it all. Barga Charlo, Tim should dominate. Mendoza. You all got filled, and we're looking to the next stage of Aussie boxing. So hopefully within the next 3 months, we'll get some more world title fights announced.
All right. Take your time out. Like the video, subscribe. You can follow old mate Big J. Here he is on Twitter. And you can follow me at TstreeT Controversy. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.